Hey everyone, this is Mr. Strasser, and I'm making this video just to show you how to do your first project in skill building. So you should be in the skill building team in Teams, and by now we should have already assigned groups and you should already have joined the team. We should have taken care of that in class. So I'm just going to go into the assignment that is posted in the conversation section. It's called Project 1 Activity 1. And I'm going to open that up, make it full screen, and I'm going to go through all the directions of the assignment with you. The nice thing about this video is, as I'm going through this, you should be working along with me and kind of following my directions. And if I ever go too fast or you need time for me to stop and so you can kind of catch up to me, you can always pause the video or you can rewind to watch parts again that you didn't understand or you needed to see again. So feel free to do that while you're watching. Now, we're just going to go through all 7 steps of this activity and walk you right through all 7 until you're ready to turn this activity in. It's worth 15 points. And there are 2 reference materials here at the bottom. One is a rubric. So you can always look at that rubric to see how this is going to be graded. That rubric is for the whole project. And we're just looking at activity 1. And there's going to be several activities in this project. You can always look at that rubric to see how it's going to be graded. Let's look at step 1. So it says, take a look at the interactive story example PowerPoint to get an idea of what you'll be creating. So let's do that. We're going to open this PowerPoint up. And what we're going to make as our first project is a story that you are going to write, only it's an interactive story. Now, an interactive story is a story in which the reader is the main character. Now, if that doesn't make sense, it will in a minute once you see how this interactive story actually works. I'm going to open it up in PowerPoint just so I can show you kind of in full screen what it looks like. So this is an interactive story that I made as an example for you. You can always come back and look at this interactive story if you want to remember what yours should be like or should look like. Mine's called Rainforest Adventure, pretty simple. And this is the first page of the story. Now remember, the reader is the main character. So the story always starts with you because it's talking to the reader. My story says, you go on a rainforest adventure for vacation. You arrive at the lodge ready for a great trip. Your tour guide gives you 3 options. You can drive, walk, or paddle a canoe. Now this is where it gets interactive because the reader can actually click on any of these choices. And whichever choice they click is going to change the direction their story takes. So I'm the one reading the story and I decide I want to paddle a canoe. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's where it takes me. All right, I take a canoe. You're admiring the beautiful landscape from the canoe when you feel a presence. You realize a school of piranhas is under your canoe. What do? And I can stop and take pictures, or I can paddle faster. Now, if this is me, and there's a school of piranhas under my canoe, I am not stopping to take pictures. I'm going to paddle faster. So I do that. You paddle faster, but the piranhas follow you and get aggressive. They overturn your boat. You swim to the shore, or you try to get back in the boat. Well, now, if this is me, I am not trying to get back in the boat. I think that boat is toast, so I'm going to the shore. And there, I succeed. That's the end of the story. I made it back to the lodge in one piece. Next time, I'm going to hit the beach. So at the end of the story, there's always a start over button because I can start over. And now I can make different choices. And that'll take me to different endings, obviously, because of making different choices. So I can go back through the story again if I wanted to and come to a different ending and see how the story goes. That's just an example of what you are going to be making in this project. So let's get started making yours. So let's go to step 2. Open the brainstorming document in the file section of your group's channel and have each group member put their name on top. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the team, the conversation section. We're going to go to the general tab. And then what we're going to do is we are going to go to our group's channel. So we should have assigned groups in class. So whichever group you are in, you want to go to that channel over here on the left. So let's say I'm in group C. So I'm going to go to group C. Now this is our channel page. And up at the top, there's a button that says Files. I'm going to click on that. And you'll see there should be a file in there that says Story Brainstorm with your group's name at the end. So this is Story Brainstorm Group C. I'm going to open that file up. And here's what it looks like. Now, what this page is a brainstorming sheet. It's going to allow us to come up with the setting, characters, and problem that our story is going to have. Down at the bottom, we're going to summarize our story when we're ready, but we're not quite ready for that yet. What you have to do with this document is put all your group members' names on top first. And then we have to come up with some brainstorming ideas for settings that our story might have, or characters or problems. I'm going to go up here to the top to edit. I'm going to click the little drop down arrow. I'm going to click edit in Teams. All right. Now, here where it says interactive story, I'm going to click in at the end of that. I'm going to hit enter to go down to the next line. I'm going to put in a space for all of our names. You should do the same thing. And I'm going to put my name on it. And the neat thing about this is, as long as I'm working here in Teams, all of the other members of my group can be working on their own computers, but their work will show up on the same document. So let's say if I were working with Mr. Ohawk, let's say he's in my group, and he types his name on his computer, it's going to show up here too. Right? And if you're working on this, you should be noticing this happening. As your group members type in their names, you should be seeing them pop up. Okay, so let's say we've got our group members' names up top. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start brainstorming ideas for our story. We're going to come up with settings, characters, and problems. Now, according to the directions for the assignment, you need to have at least 10 of each. You have 10 settings, 10 characters, and 10 problems. You can have more than 10. These are just brainstorming ideas. So we're only going to end up using one setting, a few characters, and one problem. But right now, we're just putting down everything we can think of. Later on, we'll pick which one we actually want to use for our story. But let's say for settings, now a setting is a time and a place where the story takes place. So we could use maybe Pennsylvania during the Civil War, or we could use maybe Texas during Old West times, or maybe we could say, I don't know, maybe we could actually do one in the future. We could do like Mount Union in the year 3000 or something like that. And I'm going to come up with 10. Right now I'm going to stop with 3. Characters, now remember the reader of the story is the main character, but we could have other characters who also show up in the story. So maybe one of my characters is like a crazy cat lady. One of my characters is Civil War general, and you can give them names. So maybe I'll do Civil War general, I don't know, Ulysses S. Grant, real Civil War general and U.S. president later on. So I got to come up with 10 characters. I got to come up with some problems. Now the problems are what drives the action in the story. So what's the problem in the story that you're trying to solve? Maybe a problem I could write a story about is you're lost in the woods after a plane crash, like your plane crashed and you're lost in the woods, and you're surviving until you can be rescued. Right? Maybe that's a problem, kind of a suspenseful story. Maybe it's like a haunted mansion story, right? So you're locked in a haunted hospital and trying, spelled that wrong, trying to get out. Okay, but you're going to come up with 10 problems. You need 10 of each, 10 settings, 10 characters, 10 problems. Okay. The next step in your directions, if I went back to the assignment, I would see that this is the next step. I'm not going to go back to the assignment, but I'm just going to stay here. But the next step in the assignment is, after you've generated 10 of each of these, you need to work with your group members to decide which ones you like best. Now, before we get together as a group to do that, you can do this on your own. We're going to add comments to these. So I want to vote for which one is my favorite. Of favorite setting, my favorite characters, and my favorite problem. So I personally, I like this one. I like the Pennsylvania during the Civil War. I'm going to highlight that. Then I'm going to go up here to the top. I'm going to click review. And then I'm going to click this button that says new comment. Then you'll see off here on the side, I got a comments bar, and there's a place for me to start a conversation. Now I need to vote for my favorite setting, so I've got Pennsylvania during the Civil War. I'm just going to say, this is my favorite setting. And I'm going to post that. It's going to show up there. Now I can get rid of the comments. And now I'm going to vote for my favorite characters. And you can vote for maybe 2 or 3 characters you like best. And I'm going to vote for my favorite problem. So you should make a comment on a character and a comment on a problem. Let's say, though, I'm looking at the characters, and I don't know how a crazy cat lady really fits into the Civil War story. I'm going to highlight that, review, I'm going to add a comment, and I'm going to say, I don't think this character fits into the Civil War setting very well. I'm going to post that. Okay. Now see, it's got my name on it. As my group members make comments on here, their comments will show up here as well. If I want to view those comments at any time, all that I have to do is go up here to the top and click on this button that says comments, and I can see them. And when I click on them, it will highlight what that comment is about. If you didn't notice that, I'll show you again. I go up here and click comments, and this one that says this is my favorite setting. If I see that and I'm like, what setting is he talking about? I can click on it and it highlights it. It shows it to me. I click on this one, it's talking about the crazy cat lady. So you see how those comments work? What you need to do right now is you need to make comments on the settings, characters, and problems for which ones you think are the best, which ones you think you should get rid of. Don't actually delete any of the settings, characters, or problems that you don't like. Just make comments on them. Later on, when you get graded on this, part of your grade is going to be having 10 of each. So you want to let them on there. Next, what you need to do is you need to, after you've made comments, you need to work with your group members to decide which final settings, characters, and problems you're really going to go with. And you need to indicate which ones you're going to go with by highlighting them. So let's say my group members and I have all gotten together. You should all gather around one computer to do this. So have all your group members gather around one computer right now. When you gather around a computer, you're going to highlight the one that you like best. And let's say my group voted for this one. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go up here to this highlight button. I'm going to choose a color to highlight it. And I'm going to highlight all the characters that I want to. There can be, and as many characters as you want, you can include in your story. So highlight all the ones you're going to use, and then highlight the problem that you decide to go with too. Now, if I'm doing Pennsylvania during the Civil War, I really haven't come up with a problem here that would work for that, but let's say we pick this one, and I'm going to highlight it. Okay. So now I've indicated which ones my story is really going to be about. I'm going to have this setting, these characters that I highlighted, and this problem. Now I'm going to go back to the summary section here, and I'm going to write a brief summary of what my story is going to be all about. This should be one paragraph. A paragraph is at least 5 sentences, but it could be as many as 10. Okay, but a summary of what my story is going to be all about. It should summarize the setting, the characters, and the problem that my story sets up. But it's a summary. It should not give away the ending. You might also include in your summary what some of the choices are that you're going to have in your interactive story. Remember, the reader gets to make choices. So maybe they choose, where they end up going in the story, or who they meet, or what they end up doing. You should summarize that here. And you're going to need to work together with your group members to do that. There's only going to be one summary for your whole group. Okay, so you're going to work together on it. Once you are done and you've completed this whole document, you're going to go back to the assignment in Teams. So I'll go back to the general channel. I'll go back to the assignment. And you're going to hit the turn in button. Let me double check and just make sure I've done all the steps. I looked at the model, and don't forget, you can always look at the model, the Rainforest Adventure story. That's the example, just to make sure when you start working and actually building your story that you're doing it correctly. I opened the brainstorming document. We put all of our names on it. Step 3, we added our own ideas. We have at least 10 settings, 10 characters, and 10 problems. We read through all of the document and we added comments to any of the ones we liked or didn't like. We gathered around a computer. We chose the story elements that we wanted. Story elements would be the setting, character, and problem. We highlighted them, and we indicated them by highlighting them. That's step 6. And step 7, we wrote a brief summary down at the bottom. And we are now ready to turn in our work. So obviously on my version of Teams, up here I don't have that button, but you do. You have the turn in button. When you've done all that and you've completed your brainstorming document, you can go ahead and hit turn in. When you've got your document turned in, I will check it and grade it, and you'll be ready to move on to activity number 2. And that one should be posted in Teams soon. And you can watch the next video to, just like this one, follow all the steps along with me and make sure that you're doing it correctly.